we have Kersten Dirrane, who's doing the 200 IM and the 100 breast and 200 breast at SECs, and then head coach McGee Moody. So does anyone have any questions?
Coach, this is for you. Did the team, men and women, kind of accomplish your expectations they had, or maybe exceeded them a little bit?
Man, it was. I think they exceeded everybody's expectation. We knew we actually had some time trials prior to the first night's relays that went off that were really fast. That we were just trying to make some decisions on who was going to be on those final relays at night, and we kind of got an idea at that point that okay, we might have something really special just going forward. And then the first night in the relay, where 3 of our first 4 relays set team records, set school records, and so at that point we knew that we were on, and it was going to be a fun week. But I'm not sure any coach could be prepared for kind of what unfolded after that. The numbers that we put up, I think we had a total of 21 school records that were broken, and I think our high number before that was 8 that we had broken at an SEC championship. So, yeah, we couldn't even. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Not from our standpoint, there was a lot of work that went into getting our team ready, but at that point, the coaches were just enjoying seeing everybody smile and have fun and race hard and do things they'd never done before. That was a big thing. So we had talked a few weeks ago about what would make this meet a successful meet for us, and to me we shot the moon. We were looking for lifetime best. We had 81 lifetime best, which is an unbelievable number. A lot of teams are happy if you can put up 30 to 35 in a championship meet, and we had 81. So, yeah, I mean, I think they far exceeded our expectations. I don't think it was something that we didn't believe they were capable of. I think it was something that just all came together right at the right time. It was the perfect storm for us, and it was a lot of fun.
This one's for both of you. The women's team finished the highest since 2012. How encouraging is that moving forward to NCAAs?
You go first.
Okay. I think it's really encouraging, and I think that can be attributed a lot to our leaders this year, all of our seniors. I think they did a great job leading us in and out of the pool. So I think that if we can bring that forward moving into NCAAs, I think we're going to be in a really good place.
I think it was huge. I think our ladies are starting to really see what they're capable of doing. And for the last few years, our men have kind of overshadowed our women just a little bit. And it's been something that our coaching staff has put an emphasis on. Our ladies have stepped up to the plate. I think Kirsten is exactly right. We had leaders this year, not just our captains, but our seniors. Everybody took an active role in making sure that our team got better. They bought into the process, and it really showed at the end of the year. And we've already had meetings talking about how next year's class has to fall into that same role and has to pick up the torch and keep moving forward. But I think all along this is what we knew our women were capable of doing, and so we're happy about that. And Kirsten sitting right next to me, as fast as she went and as much time as she dropped, I don't think anybody was really surprised by that. She's really changed. She's kind of changed an entire lifestyle to fit what being an elite athlete is, and so that's been fun to watch as well. But surprised, no. I think the bigger thing for us is how good can they be? How far can we take them moving forward? So it was a lot of fun.
And Kirsten, this summer you went to the U.S. Olympic trials. What were your takeaways from that, and how has that helped you improve this season?
Well, that was kind of the biggest stage that I'd ever been on. So being able to be there, not that it made SECs look small, but it was a lot different. You were in kind of a stadium of a pool, and SECs is a lot more of a team experience, so I was able to look at the meets completely differently and apply the team aspect to SECs.
Okay, Moody, you talked about setting some new school records. You had some freshmen do that. What does that say for the future of your program?
No, it's huge for the future of our program, not only just for the active members on the team, but for recruiting as well. Anytime that you have someone that is young and new to that environment, because none of these athletes have ever swam on a stage like that. The last question for Kirsten was, how did Olympic trials prepare her for this? Well, a lot of these athletes have not swam at that level, and so the time drops that we saw out of our freshmen, Emily Cornell's one that comes to mind, Christina Lappin, those were school records. Nobody in the history of our program has swam that fast, and now not only have they done it in their freshman year, they have 3 more chances to do it again and lower their own records now. So our freshmen played a huge role in the success of our program this year, and again, it's attributed to our leadership because most freshmen have never been in that stressful an environment for that long a period of time. We have the longest conference meet in the country. Nobody else has a 5-day meet, and it's a very stress-filled 5 days. So having the leaders be able to prepare our freshmen for that and have them be able to adapt once they're there and be productive is huge. It's huge for our program.
Okay, Kersten, you just barely missed the A final in the 100 breast and came back the next day in the 200 and made the A final. What did that do for you? Like, how did you mentally prepare for that and get to where you were?
I'm not going to lie. It was really tough not making the A final in the 100. There are a lot of expectations from fast practice swims, but I had to remember that I had to trust the process and trust the work that I'd put in throughout the season. I know the coaches prepared me for the 200, so that's what I had to try and focus on and refocus my energy to that rather than think about the 100.
Okay. And Moody, what's the most thing that you take away from that whole event?
Not to limit our athletes. I mean, I think that's the main thing is I need to know as the head coach of the program and our staff needs to understand that we don't need to put a ceiling on what these young men and women are capable of doing. I think, when you look forward, we are in the conversation now with national championship talk. We're talking about NCAA titles, and we have athletes on both sides that are swimming some of the fastest times in the nation. And so the program has taken such huge leaps forward. I think the takeaway is to never limit these young people to what they can do, because they as long as we can help them believe that they're able to do that. And I think we talk about it a lot of times, but in individual meetings, there's a lot of them that I believe once they learn to see themselves the same way the coaches see them, they won't limit themselves. I think sometimes, especially the younger athletes, they don't give themselves enough credit for how good they are, and they don't see the potential like maybe the coaches do. And so it's our job to make sure we convey that to them. But I think the biggest thing I take away is, it's almost hard to set goals, because I think as lofty as a goal may be, it also, in a way, kind of limits your thinking to, okay, that's the point I'm shooting for. Where if we'd have done that this time around, I got to be honest with you, I don't think I would have put a goal of 21 school records up on the board. Like, I wouldn't have set that as a goal. So to me, I have to really evaluate what it is I want to see our athletes do and our staff wants to see them accomplish, and then be careful how we relay that to them, because I don't want to limit them in any way.
So how many athletes are going total to NCAAs this year, and how many compared to years past? Okay,
so I just actually got done doing this a little while ago. We had a record number of entries both on the women's and the men's side by a ton. We had 19 individual entries on the women's side, and we had 32 individual entries on the men's side, which is a ton. Now, out of that, the way the selection process works, you have an NCAA provisional cut and you have an NCAA automatic cut. So we have a few athletes that have made the automatic cut. Niels Wick-Glosson has made the automatic cut in the 100 breaststroke. So what that means is anybody below that automatic cut, they automatically go to the meet. Then after that, they rank all B cuts. And so then they start counting off. There's a certain number of athletes that are allowed in the men's meet and a certain number of athletes allowed in the women's meet. And they go per event. They prioritize events, and then they select across the board. So trying to figure out exactly who's going to make it in is almost impossible. We have a pretty good idea. I think the minimum on the guys' side that we're going to have right now is 9, with maybe a maximum of 12. And that doesn't include divers at this point, because we don't know. The divers go to zones this weekend. I think I know Kersten is definitely in. Emma is definitely in. We have a couple more that are close, but then our divers on the women's side play a huge role. And we could put as many as 4 divers in the meet, which is huge for our program. So we're looking now to see, we've got the entries done, how many of those folks are actually going to make the cut. But it's easy to look at right now and know that we're going to have a large number of swims at both of these meets, which is exciting. You can't put points on the board if you don't have opportunities to do it. So the more opportunities we have, the more likely we are to achieve our goals at NCAAs.
Kersten, what's it like being around a team that's so supportive of one another and are kind of there for you when you're swimming and afterwards and everything?
It's amazing. I remember right after my 200 breaststroke, Emma had swum just before me, and so had my teammate Aubrey. And being able to walk out, into this big, giant facility, with all the music playing, walking out as the A final, and having those two behind the blocks, the girls I train with every single day, every single yard I do it next to them. Being able to walk out and having them there, and Taylor Vincent was there, and being able to race, knowing they were right there, get out. I got this huge hug from them, being able to go back over to my team and get all the hugs and all the great jobs, and it made it a lot more special. It's one thing if you do it by yourself. It's another to do it for the team.
Anything else? Okay, thank y'all.